long time ago, in a grand kingdom nestled between golden valleys, there lived a just and kind ruler, King Alexander. He was known far and wide for his fairness and love for his people. By his side was his most trusted advisor, a wise old man named William. William's words were like guiding stars. Every decision the king made carried his wisdom. But then one day, William passed away. The palace felt empty. The king's heart was heavy, not just with grief, but with the fear that no one could ever fill William's place again. Days turned into weeks, and though ministers and nobles surrounded him, none seemed worthy. So the king made a decision: he would find his next advisor, not among the rich and powerful, but among the common people. He wanted someone whose wisdom came from life itself. And so, every night, King Alexander left his royal robe behind and wandered the streets in disguise, listening to his people, watching, learning. One cold night, as he walked down a quiet street, he accidentally bumped into a man in the dark. The king, startled, said sharply, "Hey, who are you, walking alone at this hour?" The stranger, calm and collected, smiled faintly and said, "Just a simple man, sir. I teach people how to think, how not to be foolish. Please don't scare me, because my treasure isn't gold, it's wisdom." The king stared at him, surprised by the cleverness of his words, but said nothing and walked away quietly. The next morning, a royal order was announced across the kingdom. From now on, everyone who walks at night must carry a lantern. Anyone who disobeys will be punished. A few days later, the king once again roamed the streets in disguise. In a dim alley, he saw a man walking and bumped into him again. It was the same man. The king's patience snapped. "You again? Didn't you hear the royal decree? Where's your lantern? You'll pay for this." The man raised his hand calmly and said, "My lantern is right here, Your Majesty." The king looked closer indeed. The man held a lantern, but it wasn't lit. "Then why isn't it glowing?" the king demanded. The man smiled and replied, "Because, Your Majesty, the royal order only said we must carry a lantern, not that it should have oil or light inside." The king froze. For a moment, silence filled the street. Then the man added softly, "It seems, my king, that your court is missing wise advisors, for if one were there, he would have guided you better before such an order was made." The king's anger melted into reflection. He realized this man's brilliance was rare, exactly the kind of wisdom his kingdom needed. The next day, a royal guard arrived at the man's home. He was brought to the palace with great honor. When the king asked his name, he said, "My name is Thomas Reed, Your Majesty. I teach philosophy and literature at a small town school. My mentor always told me whoever understands the lessons of life deeply will one day stand beside a king." King Alexander smiled and said, "Then today, your mentor's words have come true." From that day onward, Thomas became the royal advisor. His first advice to the king was simple, but profound: give your people light, real light. Let there be lanterns on every street, and free oil for the poor. And let there also be the light of wisdom. Build schools and teach the lessons that shape minds and hearts. And so the kingdom shone brighter than ever, not just with lanterns, but with knowledge and understanding. For a wise mind, after all, is the greatest light of all. True wisdom lies not in power, but in understanding what truly matters: truth, empathy, and reason. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories.